Okay.
What do we do after?
So that's kind of a trick question, right? So the truth is that it's more about prevention. How old is your dog again?
7 months. 7 months.
Okay, so it sounds to me like he's got too much freedom, and a situation like that has to be prevented first and foremost. If you want to talk about consequences, then the reality is that you have to give him a consequence in the moment. So if he's on the counter and you're away from the counter, there's nothing that you can really do in that moment without using really aversive training tools. And I think at 7 months, it's more advisable. It's way better for you in your relationship to do a better job at management and supervision. So I highly recommend that you keep him on a leash and intentionally tire him out through play and training, and this way you can actively prevent him from wanting to explore. Another thing to understand about that behavior is that it's referred to in dog training as a self-rewarding behavior, which means nobody has to say, hey, good boy, we like you jumping on the counter. When he jumps on the counter and he gets food, that is the reward, which makes punishment even more difficult later on, because even if you punish him, he might view the reward as worth the consequence, right? If he gets a really high value piece of meat, chicken, steak, pizza, whatever it is, if he's like, I really like that and I'm willing to suffer the consequences that follow. So what's happening every time he jumps up is he's creating a pattern that becomes a habit, that becomes conditioned in him internally to keep trying that behavior. So put him on a leash. Do you guys have a crate for him? Do you crate train him?
Yeah.
Okay, now is the crate, do you have that, is this a living space that you have here?
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So kennel him throughout the day, not as a punishment, but as a way to normalize being in the kennel.
Okay.
You can always give him a high value chew item to help keep him occupied. I tell a lot of my clients with puppies, think about having like a routine and think about doing things in a set of threes. So every day, at least 3 times a day, if you can, you do a training session, a play session, and maybe a walk, and then relax. So it's so you can do like a quick walk, a little bit of training, and a little bit of play, and then it's relax time. And so you're in school, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you guys have recess, do you guys get to get up and have recess whenever you want, or does the teacher tell you when you can have recess?
I don't have recess. I'm in middle school.
Okay, fair enough. So let's talk about elementary school then. When you were in elementary school, did you guys just have recess when you wanted, or did your teacher tell you when to take recess?
They told us when to take recess.
Exactly. And there is a routine and a pattern throughout your daily schooling. And this is exactly the way that your dog should learn that mom I'm going to call you mom because you're going to be the mom of him, right? So mom tells him when it's time to play, when it's time to train, when it's time to relax, and when it's time to do anything. So think about building a relationship with him by having designated play times with him throughout the day, with designated training times and designated walking times and designated relax times. The more that you can control him and dictate the pace and the flow of the day, the more that he'll do what you train him to do, which is relax and wait to be told when we're going to play and when we're going to train or do whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility, but again, going back to your question about the jumping on a counter, it's totally a preventable issue, which means better management and better supervision on your end.
That makes perfect sense. Would you say, honey, to ask him?
Ask about food.
Oh.
I seed olive oil and I blend it all together in a food processor, and then I feed that to them every day. So, and I give about 3 or a third of a cup to my bigger dogs, and it's really good for them. So the reason why you want to process the veggies is because dogs don't really have the ability to do that. They don't break down vegetables like we do.
Right.
So if you break it down for them, that actually will help them absorb the nutrients better because it's already broken up.
All right. In a question, we just got these. Do you know if they're good for them?
So I'm not 100% sure, but to be honest, my rule of thumb with big brands like that is to stay away from them.
Okay.
So that's kind of my take on it. I like, for example, the big companies like that I like. One is called Lucy Pet.
Okay.
Lucy Pet. Another one is called Origin. Orjen. Oh, sorry, Orijen. Origin. And the other one is called Carna4. Carna and the number 4. And those are really good brands. Yeah, they're a little bit more pricey. And I think Blue Buffalo is pretty expensive too, but they turned out to be kind of a gimmick because everybody was all about that. And about a year or two ago, there was a study that came out that showed that their food had some, I don't know if it was like high levels of vitamin D, but it was something that wasn't good for dogs.
Okay. Do you want to show him some of the stuff? Do you have any questions as far as actually?
No, away from cars, but he'll just kind of cross over me or go behind me and go to the right side.
Is he doing that because he's afraid of the cars, or is he just curiously sniffing around?
I'm not sure. He's just running and crossing over in the middle of the road, kind of. And
Okay.
I want him to stay on the side, so
Do you bring food with you to train him?
I bring treats. Yeah.
What kind of treats do you give him right now?
We just got new ones because our other ones ran out.
We've been giving him the bacon, original with bacon, the bacon. But we just got crunchy.
These things.
And I just showed her your video that you posted. We found you on TikTok, by the way. I know you mentioned Instagram, but we're gonna find you on Instagram because she's a basketball player, pretty stud. She's lefty,
nice.
really good, and so she has her Instagram account. We will find you and follow you.
Okay.
But I just showed her your Instagram account where you were showing them to put your hip pouch on the same side as the dog and reward them as you're walking so they don't reach, and have it on the same side so they don't reach over your body. So literally just showed her that this morning. So I know a lot of things we're going to get from just following you. Did we lose you? I lost some connection.
Is there?
There you are.
I'm still here. I can't. Hold on. You see me? I
Yep.
don't see you.
It's
Hold on.
just delayed.
I have another
There you are.
question.
I'm trying to get you guys back. There you are.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Wait, did your question get answered
yeah.
about
Yeah.
walking?
Hold on.
Yeah.
No, there's more. So, okay, two things. One is I highly recommend that if you can get away with feeding him his kibble during the walks, do that. Start hand feeding him his food. He's still a pup. He's got a lot to learn. And it's kind of like, I guess the best way to explain it is if you look at food for him like money for people, nobody gets paid all of the money before they go and do their job, right? They get paid as they do the work, basically, right? So you want to think about feeding him as a way of paying him. That doesn't mean we have a slave relationship with him. That just means that we make training fun by giving him something that he already likes, like food, and engaging with him and building a relationship with him. So what I want you to do, those begging strips, I wouldn't use those. The other crunchy ones are okay. The reason why I say no to the begging strips is because they're highly processed. I would recommend that you guys, there's a brand out there called Charlie Bears. And if you look, Charlie Bear, and if you look on Amazon or even like PetSmart, Petco, you can get freeze-dried beef liver treats by Stewart. I'll send you links. You can cut up those beef liver treats and then give him those during training. What I want you to think about is actually rewarding him a lot. When I'm first teaching a dog to walk with me, I literally have a handful of food and like I cut my hand and let the dog eat out of my hand. And so
Did you see that?
I'm luring the dog the whole time for the first, part of the walk, and then I start sort of intermittently rewarding him, keeping the dog attentive to me. I change directions. So if I'm walking forward and he walks past me, I'll turn around and go the other way. Now I reset him and now he's behind me and he's got to catch up to me. When he catches up to me, I'll reward him again when he gets back to my side where I want him to be. I want you to think about always keeping him guessing, especially in the beginning when you're first teaching him to walk with you. Change directions, change speed, and randomly stop and get him to sit, and reward him every time he looks at you, and reward him for paying attention to you and for walking nicely alongside you. So when it comes to dog training, I always tell my clients, behaviors that are rewarded are more likely to continue. So the more you reward him for his behaviors, the more that he's going to want to do those behaviors because they're rewarded. Think back to what I just mentioned earlier with him jumping on the counter. He's going to keep jumping on the counter more and more because that behavior is rewarded. The only difference is that behavior is rewarding him in and of itself. If he's walking nicely alongside you and you don't communicate with him that that's good by rewarding him and petting him and praising him, then how's he supposed to know that that's where he should be? Yeah. So you have to actively and continuously engage with him until he begins to expect it, and then you fade away from it. So, hold on a second. So, in the beginning, it's a lot, meaning you're going to be rewarding him a lot, but you can taper away from that as he gets better and as you can raise your expectations.
So along those lines, if he's like chewing on shoes consistently and things, it's because we're not like spending enough time with him, keeping him on a leash, those things you mentioned earlier.
So I don't know how much time you guys are spending, so it'd be presumptuous of me to say that. However, I will say that if he's chewing on your shoes and getting a hold of things that he shouldn't have, it is more of a management and supervision issue. It's because that's normal behavior. So you have your daughter, right? If you called me, you said she's 9?
12. This one's
12. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry. So that's right.
That's fine.
I remember telling you that I was 9 when I was training my dog.
Yeah,
Okay, so if you think back 10 years ago when she was 2, and you were to call me and say, hey, my daughter is like grabbing knives and sticking them in the sockets. What should I do? Or she's grabbing a hold of valuable papers for my job and ripping them up. What do I do? I would say to you, watch your daughter. Why is your daughter roaming around the house grabbing your papers or grabbing knives? And so think of it in that context where he's a puppy, he's going to do what puppies do, just like babies are going to do what babies do, which is walk around and touch everything and put it in their mouth and rip it apart. They're exploring. It's your job to give him the direction through proper management and physical control and giving him an appropriate item to chew on. It's like you have a list of items that he can chew on, yak sticks, bully sticks, stuffed Kongs, or anything else that's appropriate, and then you give them to him during those rest periods that I mentioned earlier. So you walk him, you train him, you play with him, he rests. During that rest period, here's your bone. This is what you chew on. And he gets used to chewing on only those items that you give him permission to chew on. And you shouldn't be catching him technically chewing on anything around the house because he should be supervised.
Gotcha.
He's a young dog and he's developing bad habits.
So more structure.
And if you come behind him and you yell at him, which is a natural response for most people, you're chewing on my favorite shoes. No, hey, get out of here. The more that happens, the more that 2 behavioral patterns are going to take place in him. Number 1 is he's going to become defensive, meaning he sees you coming and now he guards. He starts to show his teeth or growl because he's like, hey, I know you're going to take my stuff and I don't want you to. Or he becomes submissive. So now he sees you coming and he's like, oh no, please don't yell at me, don't hurt me. And that's all he does. But he never learns not to grab the items. He only learns how to react to you when you react to him, to make you go away faster. So either he's cowering to make you go away faster, or he's guarding up and being aggressive.
Ours is cowering.
Yeah.
And you,
And this is just a reaction to you, but you have to prevent him from even getting
makes
those shoes.
Perfect sense. Okay, did you remember your other question that you were going to ask? Or your...
No.
Okay. Do you have any questions when you train him? It sounds like we've got a lot of good information as far as rewarding him frequently.
Not really a lot of questions.
Okay.
Do you have any
Tips?
questions for us or tips, that you see in rookie pet owners?
I covered them and I'll reiterate. Just really supervision and also understanding that you are part of the reward system. So your guys' attention to him is very valuable, and you should also be giving that attention at the right times. It's like, again, using your daughter as an example, when she was younger, and even now, if she just comes up to you constantly, because this is what dogs do, right? Especially puppies. They're pushy, they want attention, they want affection, and then they get it from their owners, or they get spoken to frequently. So don't talk to him a lot. Talk to him when he's doing the right thing. Make your communication with him specific and intentional. And so, but imagine your daughter coming up to you, waking you up, or bothering you constantly, telling you to take her to Disneyland or to the park or to go do something, to the mall, whatever. You would say to her, no, stop interrupting me. I will let you know when we're going, period. And so when you have a young dog that's doing that, pushing attention or asking for something, wanting to play and provoking play, and you give him attention, he's learning how to manipulate you and get you to do the things that he wants. And when he acts submissive, he's learning how to use his emotions and his body language to get you to go away, so that you don't force him to do the things that he does not want to do. And so again, having a leash would be the number one thing I say you put on him ASAP.
In the house, huh?
In the house, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, because again, he's wandering away. Like if I'm sitting in the on the couch in my house or anywhere in my house, and I have a dog that I'm working with, like from a rescue or a client dog, and let's just say that I don't have a leash on them, and they wander into another room. My first thought is, where are you going? What are you doing? Why are you going into another room? Because I know that there's nothing in there good for you. So I can't ever let that dog out of my sight, and I don't want to overwhelm myself mentally by constantly having to check and see, where's the dog, where'd he go, damn it, he left again, damn it, he grabbed my shoes again. Instead, I'm going to have a leash on him, and I'm literally going to tether that leash to the bottom of my chair. And when I'm sitting down eating lunch, he's tethered to me, and I give him a bone, and I go, hey, this is hangout time. When I relax, you relax. When I'm ready to go to the park, you can come with me. When I'm ready to train you, we're training. When I'm ready to relax again, you're relaxing. When I'm ready to play, I'm going to give you your tug or start throwing the ball and interacting with you. So this way, everything that's good and interesting and fun in his life, he gets it from me. And I'm the one that dictates the tempo of the day. I say, hey, it's time to relax. That doesn't mean that every day at 12 o'clock I have to train, play. It just means that, hey, maybe it's 11:30, maybe it's 1 o'clock that I get around to it. But I'm the one that is in control, and I'm the one that's teaching him. You don't have to do anything but listen to me and wait. I will take care of everything. We're going to have fun. You're going to eat the most delicious food right out of the palm of my hand. We're going to play. You're going to learn a lot of things, and you're going to learn how to get affection from me. Right? Especially when he's calm and relaxed at the end of like training and play, that's a perfect time to, I'm really affectionate with my dogs. I lay with them, I'll cuddle with them, but I do those things when they are calm. I don't let my dogs jump on me and then give them a bunch of affection, because that's how they learn to get it. It's like your daughter's like, mommy, and you're like, what, sweetheart? How can I help you? Instead of teaching her to go, excuse me, mom, that's a polite way to do it, right? And young dogs, when they jump and people touch them, if he's jumping on you guys, stop pushing him. Because pushing is a form of play. And so we don't realize that we're actually reinforcing jumping, right? So instead, have a leash on him. He jumps on you, grab the leash and calmly pull him away from you. And don't give him any attention anytime shortly after that for at least 10 seconds. Then when he's calm and all four paws on the ground, then you can pet him. That's an example. But yeah, definitely keep a leash on him. Lots of food rewards. Everything comes from you. Structure, rules, and boundaries. And if there's anything else I can do to help you guys, let me know.
Ira, if she wants to go into kind of what you do, what would you suggest, or any tips for that?
Yeah, contact local rescues and ask them if they have any like mild tempered dog, like, dogs that are safe and that you can walk, no issues, like nice, pleasant dogs, and go to rescues and start volunteering and walk some dogs once a week. Just get familiar with dogs. Try some of your techniques on the dogs, right? Bring food with you, feed them during your walks, have them sit, try to train other dogs how to do the things that you already know how to do. You'll start to learn that not every dog is the same, and you'll start to learn how different their personalities are, and that'll really help you to develop the skills you'll need later on to better read dogs. I would also recommend getting a hold of a couple of books. Like, for example, This is a really good book, Canine Behavior. It's an illustrated book that basically walks you through all different types of dog behaviors and what they look like. They compare the behaviors to wolves and they compare them to dogs, domesticated dogs. Let me see. Another book I think was really, I mean, it depends. For me, I think that's great for behavior. I'm trying to think of another book. In general, any dog book that seems of interest to you, I would say read it.
Okay.
You become familiar. And then later on, there's schools that teach dog training, and I think looking into one of those would be great. If you know what you want and that's what you want, then I would say start there. Go volunteer, start working your magic with some of those other dogs and see how different it is, and how some dogs are going to be super easy and some dogs are going to be difficult. You're going to go to feed them and they're going to turn away and look at you like, I don't want any of that, and you're going to have to, you're faced with a challenge. Well, what do I do now? Right? So that's when you get more playful, you get a little creative, or you use a little bit more leash pressure to guide them. So, but
That's
yeah,
awesome.
that would be my suggestion for you.
Thank you. Do you have anything else? Because we've taken enough of his time.
Are they
So-
good?
Well, I wouldn't label them as good or bad. I would label them as effective or not. And so I would say this, I don't generally recommend harnesses because I prefer the control that a leash and collar gives me. So when I have a leash and collar fitted at the top of a dog's neck, I have better control over their head. So if I can guide and direct their head, I can better control their body. When you put a harness on the dog, they're able to really barrel into that harness, and their necks are very strong, so they can turn, and you're going to have a lot more of a difficult time directing them. Keep in mind that just because I mentioned to use the leash and collar doesn't mean that we should be yanking on the leash and collar. It just means that we have better physical control over them. Even food motivated dogs can still become very distracted, and so it's important to have the necessary and appropriate tools to better guide and lead them from here gently and appropriately. Some dogs have medical issues where they can't wear a collar, so those dogs I would put a harness on, or even a gentle leader.
Okay.
So harnesses are great for swimming, swimming harnesses, in training
I said
harnesses. Do not pet harnesses, service dog harnesses, or harnesses that are intentionally designed so dogs can pull into them. Another thing that I don't like about harnesses that a lot of people don't know is that, like, the front clip harnesses, or even the ones that clip from behind, if you're not training your dog to walk with you and your dog just learns to pull into the harness, number one is the harness impedes the full movement and rotation of their shoulders. So over time, their muscles are underdeveloped. Another thing is that the front clip harnesses, dogs tend to get pulled to the side, so they spend a lot of time walking like this. So over time, it's going to cause the dog pain and discomfort because you're literally changing their skeletal structure. So regardless of the training tools you use, I've seen people that put prong collars on dogs and the dogs are still pulling into the prong collars. So it's not really the tool, it's more about the fact that you're training your dog not to pull into the harness or not to pull into a collar.
Okay.
So, all right.
That's
Okay.
awesome. You are amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and we strongly recommend you do an online course or online training on
I-
your website, so that, because I
Yeah.
feel like with all your followers, you're going to have people, if you haven't already, asking that.
Yeah, no, I'm in the process. I'm putting together sort of the back end of a puppy training course, and then I'm going to start making the videos and publish it. So,
Okay,
Thank
my
you.
husband's super techie, so if you need any help on that area, just let us know.
okay, yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Have
All
a
right.
beautiful day,
You too.
and reach out if you need anything.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.
Bye.